Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, whatever the case may be. I'm Andrea Zenz, and I'm one of our product managers here at Standard Imaging. I'm presenting today, of course. On behalf of myself and my colleagues, I want to welcome you and thank you for attending our webinar series. Just a note, this webinar is being recorded and will be available for viewing on our website shortly. Attendees are in listen-only mode, but you are encouraged to type in questions, and I'll do my best to answer them at the end of my presentation. Alrighty, and just a couple words about Standard Imaging for those of you who may not know us all that well. Standard Imaging is based in Middleton, Wisconsin, suburb of our capital city, Madison. We were founded in 1989, and from our humble beginnings of a well chamber and a simple electrometer, we now design and manufacture a full suite of excellent QA products for radiation therapy. And we are definitely pleased to be your partners to meet your QA needs now and in the future as they come up. Since we don't get to meet in person, I thought it would be very nice for you to see who it is that's talking at you today. This is me. A little bit about me. I've been with Standard Imaging for 15 years now, most of that in our sales department. I'm the mom of 3 young adults. I can't believe I'm old enough to say that my youngest is 19 years old, but there you go. And in my spare time, I like to build kaleidoscopes. You can see a few of them here in the background. A year ago, the last time I really traveled for fun, I got my hands on some raw wood and turned it into a fabulous scope. Lots and lots of fun. So, yes, and my art room is now my home office, so there you go. So let's get on to the topic of today, which is really QA Fusion, QA Pilot. How are you managing your departmental communication, work, QA procedures in the time of little office time, a lot more at home time, and QA Fusion, how it is that we're integrating Standard Imaging products into a platform. The QA management side of that is called QA Pilot, and that is what we're going to talk about today. So for those of you that are physicists, or even if you're therapists, if you're working in a radiation therapy clinic, you know that there are a mountain of tasks to be accomplished on a daily and periodic basis. I don't need to go into all of them. You all know what they are. But QA Pilot, like I said, is a QA management system, and it's really here to help you facilitate the management of your radiation therapy QA, from the performance, communication, review, preparation for audits, and so on. So what do? We really help you streamline communication to standardize operations in your facility. We make sure that you're remaining secure with Amazon, utilizing Amazon Web Services to store data. We want to make sure that you remain compliant, as you know that you need to be, whether you're working from home or in the office. So how do we help you demonstrate your compliance with recommendations, procedures, policies, and regulations? We put documents and information at your fingertips to make that easy. Accountability, again, we're not working together as much in the offices and collaborating in person. So how do we manage the oversight? How do we manage review? How do we keep everybody on track and informed so that we can all be efficient and accountable for what's going on in our patient care? And we also want to help you by being vendor neutral. And by this, I don't just mean vendor neutral on a LINAC front, but also, as much as I would love for all of you to be completely Standard Imaging equipped, I know that you've inherited a variety of items. You have chosen certain vendors for certain types of products, and we are here to support you no matter what, as far as that goes, by having connectivity to third-party vendor data and putting management of those devices also at your fingertips with QA Pilot. So QA Pilot is software as a service. And what does that actually mean for your facility? It means you have lower entry costs because you don't have to buy an expensive software package. It is sold as a per room, whether that be a Linux, an HDR, or CT room. You have lower maintenance costs, again, because you have a lower footprint, less time to install, no time to update. The software updates are automatic as a web-based application. You don't have to invest in any type of hardware with advanced graphics or calculational abilities. Scalability, super important. Whether you're a single site with a single LINAC, or you're an organization with multiple sites, multiple LINACs at each location. The scalability of this product, it makes for great ease of use, and as you grow, expand your services, it is very easy to add a room to QA Pilot to support those activities. And I personally, honestly, am always about how do we improve performance. And QA Pilot really has some built-in tools that help you streamline your operational costs, improve the communication throughout your department, remaining HIPAA compliant with that web communication along the way. So working remotely does not have to mean that we are less efficient in our jobs. And QA Pilot truly is something that can help you work optimally in times of not being together so much. Anywhere that you have access to the web, you can view the HIPAA compliant review to analyze, review, and approve QA, oversee the status of QA schedules, if they've been done, not done, what's going on. You can share documents if there's updates to procedures. You want to share those quickly so that everybody is on board. We help you do that. We help you track machine and QA device performance, uptime, and any service or maintenance that you may need to perform on those things via machine log. We help you improve patient safety through the incidents learning logging. And we also, because of the way we function and the types of users that are allowed with associated user rights, we can help you prepare, manage, and even perform, those audits remotely, which a lot of them, of course, are these days. And as we mentioned, this is right now we're talking about QA Fusion. The latest and greatest for that, as far as QA Pilot is concerned, is greater integration with our PIPSpro TG142 software. And utilizing the QA Pilot API, we have now an automatic download of dashboard results and a very easy method to include PIPSpro reports right within your QA Pilot report. So again, all that information is under one roof, if you will, or under one umbrella in QA Pilot. QA Fusion is about more than just QA Pilot connection with QA Pilot and PIPSpro connection. But with QA Pilot, you're also managing your full suite of devices. And also, machine logs for all of your LINAC or LINAC accessories can be tracked in there as well. And then how do we help you perform the QA? Well, we have TG51 worksheets built in, the customize and preset templates where you're going to be utilizing these machines and devices. We integrate the daily, monthly Imager QA results. A lot of things that are built in that say, okay, here's my suite of equipment I'm using. How do I manage it from calibration to service to extended warranties, all of those things. And then what the results are that I'm getting from these devices. How do I store that data? So what is QA Pilot doing for you? Well, from that initial list, it's really everything except for patient QA. For patient QA, we have our excellent products of Adaptivo and Linac View. They are not directly under the hood of QA Pilot, as they need different connections to ARIA or Monica or whatever you're using. We have those housed elsewhere, but they're excellent solutions that are, of course, available. And there are things that you could do custom test wise to indicate, give you indications of status of patient QA if you wanted to. So really, when you look at your QA management, especially these days, it can be a very daunting task. It's a very tangled web we weave, all the regulations and policies and things that we need to do. Do you have a good handle on it, or can you be more organized, see the associations, what's going on, a better overview? I think QA Pilot would give you certainly that much more organized, coordinated view of what's going on overall. So let's now hop over to the software itself, because that's only the best way, if it would let me do that. There we go. Hop on over to the software to go over it now. So here we are in QA Pilot. It is a web application, as I said. As a physicist, you're going to land on the Manage page, but it's very easy to go through to any of the other items in here. This menu is organized as in, I'm going to perform the QA, I'm going to review it and report on it. These are the most common things we do, but I'm going to start in Manage because as a physicist, which I'm making an assumption that most of you who are online today are physicists, this is where, of course, you're going to start if you receive the product and you're going to get things set up so that you can run efficiently as a department. So within each of these menus, you have a submenu here. Let's take a quick look at what sites and machines are. Great thing about QA Pilot, one of the things I absolutely love about it and our customers love about it, is that there are dashboard views wherever you go that help you quickly get to zoom in on what information you want while keeping an overall view as well, so that you have opportunities to see everything. I want to go into edit a machine very quickly here. Of course, when you add a room, which means adding a machine that's in contact with standard imaging, we help you get that set up. And then in preparation for utilizing the built-in TG51 worksheets, you're going to indicate what energies you have at the LINAC, whether you're going to be performing your photons with SSD or at SAD. Electrons default, of course, is SSD. If you have some information here about your TMRs, your expiration dates on those things, you can enter them, of course, in here. For your electron energies, your I50, your R50. Again, the information here. If you have documents to attach in relation to this information above, of course, you can attach it here so that you have it at your fingertips. Easy setup. Don't ask for a lot, but this is preparation that matters later. Of course, we have users and user roles. There are associated rights with them. And as I alluded to in my presentation, there's even a user type, which is guest, which is when you have a regulator or an auditor, you don't want them digging into everything. If it's being held via a webinar or something like that, in the absence of in-person meeting, then you want to be able to give them access to what they need, but not go into even more. So here you can set up a user that as a guest, and all that they can review then are things that are housed in reports, which is every QA that you've ever run is going to be in the reports, and the document section, which is a place, we'll go into this a little bit further, where you can upload any type of document, any type of spreadsheet, image, procedure, policy, anything that you want. You can organize, upload it here, organize it, and that way an auditor would also be able to see that information. The other thing, of course, you're very keenly aware of and want to know about is what's going on with your measurement devices. These are the QA devices, not the LINACs. And what's really nice again here is we have lots of filters so that you can, again, zoom in, hone in on the information that is most important to you. Note that when you're setting up users, you associate them to specific sites and or specific LINACs. So there's already a whittling down to what is necessary for a particular user. But if you're a chief physicist or a departmental administrator, you may need that more global view of what's going on within the department or within the organization. So again, you can zoom in on certain things. You can put in your calibration data. Nice thing that we have here is your next event. It keeps you very quickly zoomed in on what you care about. What's the next thing I have to do for this piece of equipment? I'll have to do a recap, it's going to be due for recalibration. I'm going to need to update that in March of next year. And then there's also a place for me to add a machine calibration if that was being done at that time as well. We're going to leave that because we didn't actually enter any information. But again, these measurements devices aren't limited to just those items that need calibration. Say you have a beam checker here, and I've got an item in there that says, okay, we want to renew our extended warranty. Don't forget to do that. The task will appear on your dashboard there, and it's very easy to keep on top of those things. Then the other thing that's, this is really meat and potatoes of the software, the thing that makes it very easy to get started with the product, and then specialize it, customize it the way you need it to be, is here in the templates and the custom tests. So down here, you'll notice we have a variety of tests that say preset. You'll also notice that you can view what tests are in there. Let's go view the HDR daily presets. This is the list of tests that are in that particular template, which would equal a schedule should you take it just as is to be performed on a daily basis. You can copy this and then modify it to customize to some additional tests that you may have within your department, or maybe there's one or two of the preset tests that you actually don't do. You can copy, give it a new name, and customize it for what you need. We don't let you modify the presets, of course. This is just your starting basis to get going with the product. And if you wanted to modify anything that you've copied, you can do that. If you, again, have tweaked something and then you add a new LINAC and that you want to perform the same QA, but give it a new name tied to that new machine, you could easily copy it, give it a name, say, LINAC B, LINAC 3, whatever it is. If you're a larger organization and you want to share templates across the organization or within specific regions of your organization, you can set up a download function to share items. If we're going to add a template here, this is the easiest way to show you cleanly what's going on. You decide what kind of machine you're performing your QA on. In this case, I'll just say that, give it a name. We're just going to call it AZ Test LINAC. And it's active, so we're going to continue there. You can put any description in there you want. And then the beauty of this product really is that we've taken all the tables within TG142 from the daily through to the annual, organized them by table here and frequency, and they're very easy to select. So here on the left are available tests, and on the right, you're going to see your schedule that you're building or your template that you're building. You can choose either everything within a set, or you can choose a subset of items within here only. And you'll see that it's added here. If I'm going to do my mechanicals, I'll take that whole set. And let's just add safety for right now for you to see that. So we've done that. But again, this isn't quite enough, because we don't want you to say, okay, now that you've selected those just because they're in that order of available tests, excuse me, that means that's the order you must perform them within your clinic. No, you don't. You can choose, follow your workflow, follow your internal procedures. And if you do your beam, say your radiation area monitor first, then put it first in the list. If you prefer to do your safety checks before you do your dosimetry, then move your safety group up there. So again, it's customizable so that it matches the workflow of your department. Something that's very key, making it very easy for people to use. The other thing I'll just note is that as you create custom tests, you don't have to recreate the wheel every single time. Once you've created a custom test, it will be added to the available test to choose for any type of template that you're trying to create or modify. So that again makes ease of use, one and done. You do it here. Then we're just not going to save that, but now we're going to skip over to custom tests. Here we've created several that are related to PIPSpro in particular. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Oh, excuse me. Very dry air in here. So lasers is a little bit my playing ground. Oh, I'm going to put you on mute for a minute because I just got a cough. Sorry about that. So anyway, this is my playground a little bit. We've been adding functionality to our custom tests this year. While 2020 has been a challenging year for a whole lot of reasons, it has been a great year in QA pilot development, adding TG51 spreadsheets, adding connection to PIPSpro, and adding some calculational functionality to our custom tests, such as ratio, such as averaging, using a common denominator in some of these things. And the nice thing within custom tests, as you're creating them, you can preview them. What is this going to look like? And here I want to compare various regions of interest to a center Hounsfield unit. So what is my center value? What region am I in? What is my Hounsfield unit result for that region? And it's going to calculate a difference for you, for example. If you want to do an average, this is something that you can do. Say your EDW, when it's in, when it's out. What are my measurements? What is an average there? These may not be sensical tests because I'm not a physicist, but this is my little bit of playground to work out what we're doing when we've created and added some of these additional functionality. That's not the one I was going to look at. I wanted to do ratio. So here, for example, I've got a Supermax electrometer that's got 2 channels. I'm going to take readings, multiple readings, channel 1, and I want to compare that to my channel 2, and then it's going to ratio those two for you. Yes, the Supermax has a ratio function on it since it is a dual electrometer, but again, it's some of the mathematical functionalities that we've added to custom tests. Schedule configuration is where you're going to decide. And again, we can collapse or we can expand. Again, this is one of those dashboard views. Whether we're going to assign a QA schedule to a particular LINAC at a particular location. And you simply do it with the add a schedule function. Pick from your list of templates that are available. You get to assign who is responsible for performing this QA. And then you can give it a specific name, associated to that LINAC. This is also where you decide what the frequency may be. Does it repeat every week? You can determine how often it does this. You can select a specific day, and you can decide whether it stops and starts or not. I'm not going to do that, so I'm just going to use my little back button to go over to something else. Then the next thing I really wanted to go over quickly, again, machine log. So in machine log, you probably are typically thinking about, well, my Linac, that's my big machine. But actually, we've set this up easy enough for you to be able to track your QA devices here. So for example, I've got my Varian Linac and I use my Beam Checker Plus from Standard Imaging on that particular Linac. And when you're sending up your vendors, if you have a particular contact name, you can put that in here. If you have a particular contact email or phone number, put that information in here. So again, at your fingertips, just right within QA Pilot, you have a way to access, who's in the know, who's going to be able to help me, and quickly go there. The machine log is also this is the area where you can determine what types of items you want to appear in a machine log, data entry points, if you will, for a machine log. Again, you can choose whether the equipment belongs to a site or whether it belongs to a particular Linac or is associated, if you will, with a particular Linac. You can give equipment different types of categories. I've created a custom category here, OSMS. You can create custom fields. In this case, I created a custom field saying Beam Checker plus service tracking, for example. If I want to add a custom, we keep it simple. What's really nice, though, is, again, you give it a label, a type. You can also choose whether it's a just simple text, whether you're creating a list, or whether it's a yes, no, not available type of field. You can also say, what does this apply to? Does it apply to a center or does it apply to a specific machine? If it applies to a specific machine, then this field won't appear in the machine log when you go over here to actually enter an event. Custom fields, yep, and the custom statuses, I added one, for example, in progress, but again, very simply, you can add a new status label if you wanted to. So what does all of this mean? Once we've set all of this up, what does this mean? Well, for machine logs, since we're talking about that right now, that means you go over here and we say, okay, for example, we've got an issue with our machine. We want to log it. We want to put in a description of what it is that's going on here, whether the machine is down or not. And if the machine is definitely down, it's going to start tracking how long it is down. You can add an attachment, and as you go in and update a machine log, which you would do in here, when you go into review, as a physicist, this is probably on a daily basis where you're going to start your day. What are things that are out there ready for me to look at? You're also going to know what's outstanding in your machine logs, which is why I say, it's great as far as a Linac goes, but it's also useful when you're talking about equipment. Say I had to send in my chamber chamber and electrometer for recalibration. You can open a machine log for that so that you can track the day you send it. If you want to do a status update because it's been, 7 working days and it's not back in your hands, you can reach out to your Cal Lab or your or Standard Imaging if you've sent it to us, which we would do a diagnostics on it before sending to the Cal Lab to get a status update and maybe make an entry on that. It's just a great simple way to keep things in the forefront of your mind that need to be in the forefront of your mind. As I said, since we're now over here in review, you can see what is the status, things have passed, if there's action or a warning. Let's go in and take a look. For example, I'm in the process of a daily TG142. This is what that looks like. Here we've already downloaded the data or uploaded the data from Beam Checker Plus with a single click of a Get Data button. For those that are pass fails, we've chosen those. Here's your item that has an alert. This submenu over here, color-coded dots to let you know whether you're pass, alert, or failure. If it's an open circle, it means that the QA has not been completed. If it's closed, it means it's completed, and here are the results. This has been a finalized QA. There are 3 incomplete tests. It lets you know what wasn't done that day, hasn't been done on this particular report, you may need to go back into schedules then and say, okay, this is great in schedules. Again, you can collapse it all so you only see what you care about. We want to look at Cedar so the rest can remain closed. We want to look at this. Notice from here you have 3 buttons. This is to perform, this is to review and report, and this is to see your trending. So we noticed there were a couple of items. Here's that open one. It lets us know that we haven't done that yet. We can go straight to that portion of the test. We can put in for example, we put in the few pieces of information that need to be done in case we've been interrupted during our QA. So now we've finished the QA. We don't need to save it anymore. We are going to finalize it at this point. It's an opportunity to make comments. There are places to make comments all over the place. There are places to add attachments, documents throughout this software, which make it very nice and easy. If there are any particular comments you wanted to make on here for the reviewer, for remembering for audit purposes, anything like that, you can add them here and then finalize the QA. And then, of course, it's going to be in your reports here with a warning and as completed. And again, this is one of those things where you can sort by center, by location, see what's going on, and do those. So a couple of the things that I can show you in here, excuse me, the Imager QA only. This is one where I've already done run the PIPSpro test. QA Pilot does not even need to be open, but the dashboard results that are available in PIPSpro, there is an action item within PIPSpro, which my colleague Hugh will go through next week in his webinar on PIPSpro, where you just click the button. It's going to upload it to the appropriate template within QA Pilot without you having to do anything within QA Pilot for that to appear. You don't want to have the template open. It's just going to go find that template and upload the dashboard results. You as a user may want to add the actual PIPSpro reports in there. Notice that they can be rendered in line right here for review. You do not need to go anywhere else. So again, if you've got an auditor in and they want to see how are you doing on your TG 142, you can send them to the reports. They can see the report here and they can get the complete report from PIPSpro, because PIPSpro is going to import a dashboard result. This is the full details. And so like here, the JAWS and the radiation light field, those are passing, but you'll notice we have an error here, and that's the crosshair displacement. So this will get you the summary results and the detailed results right here at your fingertips. Really, really easy for everybody to stay on the same page. What else do we have that helps people stay on the same page? As I mentioned previously, documents. This is, again, really important. You can version your documents, you can add tags and types, and really you can upload images, spreadsheets, documents, PDFs, Word documents, whatever it may be. But what this helps you do, which is more than a lot, is you notice over here we have this person thing, person plus. So what does that really mean? Do I require a sign off on a document? If you've updated a departmental procedure or you're adding a new treatment type and you want everybody to be aware of the policies, procedures, steps involved, you can create that document and make sure that it's uploaded here. And then you can say, yep, I want people to sign off and I want to know as an administrator, as a chief physicist, or regional, whatever your case may be, you can assign it to a certain types of users. You can assign it to specific locations, specific machines, those that are associated with it. You can give them a due date and give them, write in a message. And this is going to generate an internal HIPAA compliant email to say, ta-da, there's something you need to review here. And you need to let me know that you have, in fact, reviewed this. And that way you can keep track, whether you're in the office or not, to know if everybody is aware because they have looked at that document and have signed off on having read that document to you. So that is really helpful and important. And like I said, the other thing that I really care about in machine log and in the ILS, they're very similar recording. It's about process improvement. It's about how do we do better and make sure that we're delivering the best patient care we possibly can. So if you have, an ILS group committee, for example, that's reviewing it, you can enter those items in either location, and then say you meet quarterly to review, and you see that you have a particular type of category of error that has happened 6 times in the past 3 months. You may discuss that, decide maybe there's a new policy point we need to add, an extra step we need to put in the procedure as an extra safety check. You can implement that, share the document through the document section, and the next time you meet in 3 months, you can look at that same category and go, hey, we went from 6 down to only 2 of these incidents. It looks like what we implemented is working. Let's keep a track and make sure that we're reducing that number hopefully to 0. If, on the other hand, you unfortunately say, oh, crud, we actually have 6 of those again, that doesn't seem to have worked, or people weren't aware. We need to communicate better. We need to tweak the step that we implemented in order to get that number down. These are the good on you. You caught these things. It didn't impact necessarily the patient delivery, but you're always looking to improve. We always want to do better. And I think that it helps a lot to build the team, especially as we're apart instead of together. Hey, we're in this together. Let's stay together. Let's stay in communication and make sure that we're all doing what we need to do. So that is a lot of information. There's way more stuff in here that I can't really get to. So what I would suggest at this point, we'll go back over to the PowerPoint here for a moment. And like I said, next week, if you have any questions, now's a good time to put them in the chat box. Next week, my colleague Hugh is going to go over PIPSpro for Imager Machine QA, that TG142 test, and he'll show you that connection to QA Pilot. I also want to direct you to our updated website. We're still in the process of updating, but it is a new look and feel out there. We have a great customer portal available now, so I highly suggest that you check that out, sign up for the portal so that you have access to all the information. We give you information about your calibrations, your warranties, the equipment you have, as well as tech notes and all kinds of good stuff out there. If you want a further in-depth view or webinar on QA Pilot, I and your sales representative are more than happy to walk through that with you. You may be representing just your team today. If you saw enough that interests you, let's get the rest of the team on, get the administrators on a call, so that they can really see the benefits and how this can really, really help you gain some efficiencies and really stay connected and in tune with what's going on with your department or across your organization. So with that, I'm just going to take a look to see if there are any questions. I'm not seeing any, so hopefully that means I didn't go too quickly and it was informative to all of you. Again, I invite you to reach out if you do have any questions once you get off of here. And since this is the last time, unless you schedule a webinar, that I will be communicating with you in 2020, I want to wish those that celebrate Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Have great year-end festivities, but stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks.